Do you find solace in silence and seek meaning in the tranquil moments of life? In today's video, we'll be shedding light on the 7 things that only quiet people can wholeheartedly relate to, all within the enlightening principles of Buddhism. Lesson 1. Only take actions that make sense. Quiet people frequently follow an unwritten rule. They only take action when necessary. They have a deliberate and contemplative way of living, knowing full well that every action has a purpose. Quiet people tend to be more deliberate, making sure that their actions are in line with their inner truth and values in a world that often promotes impulsive decisions and continual activity. The mindfulness and intention lessons found in Buddhism can be directly linked to this way of thinking. Buddhism promotes leading an awake life in which every action is taken purposefully and mindfully. This is embodied in the daily lives of quiet people who are inclined to contemplation and introspection. They behave with a feeling of purpose that represents their inner serenity and need for authenticity rather than out of habit or social pressure. Quiet individuals appreciate intentionality for a variety of reasons, including their appreciation of time and effort. They understand that these resources are limited and that spending them on pointless pursuits or surface-level relationships leaves little time for the kinds of pursuits that genuinely feed the soul. When they make a decision, it's usually for a reason, be it to advance a worthwhile cause, foster stronger bonds with others, or advance personal development. For many quiet people, this emphasis on quality above quantity serves as a guiding concept. For instance, reserved individuals frequently choose carefully what they spend their time doing in social situations. They might rather have in-depth discussions with intimate friends than go to huge social gatherings where the talk is mostly surface level. They know how valuable it is to use their limited time for conversations that lead to genuine understanding and connection. Individuals are usually urged to have a busy lifestyle, packing their calendars with pursuits that may not improve their quality of life, but help them appear more productive. People who are quiet resent this strain. They are aware that an unreflective lifestyle can result in stress, burnout, and a lack of fulfillment. They escape the trap of being busy for the sake of being busy by giving priority to activities that have a clear meaning and purpose. The fact that quiet individuals are aware of the possible consequences of their choices is another factor contributing to their emphasis on purpose in behavior. Their philosophy of life considers not just their own satisfaction, but also the impact of their activities on other people. When quiet people talk, for instance, it's usually after giving their comments some thought. They are aware of the power of words and how they can either heal or damage a situation. Therefore, they are careful with their word choice and make sure it advances the discussion or issue at hand. This consciousness demonstrates a deeper comprehension of the Buddhist doctrine's core idea, that all beings are interrelated. Quiet people are aware that thoughtless behavior might result in needless injury or conflict, just as our actions have an impact on those around us. They aim to establish harmony in their dealings with others, as well as within themselves by acting with intention. Living with purpose has several advantages, one of which is that it frequently results in increased happiness and fulfillment. Due to the fact that their acts are consistent with who they really are, quiet people typically feel less regret. They take great care to ensure that the decisions they make are consistent with their core ideals. This lessens the likelihood of making decisions based on transient feelings or outside pressures, which frequently result in disappointment afterwards. This is an essential component of judgment for everyone, not just introverted individuals. Our quality of life can be greatly enhanced by learning to give meaningful behaviors precedence over mindless ones in a society where we are constantly being pulled in numerous directions. It provides us the room to grow in the areas that are most important to us and aids in helping us concentrate on what really matters. We can escape the trap of blindly hopping from one task to the next without giving it any thought by engaging in this intentionality. We can develop a life full of fulfillment and significance by making intentional decisions. People who are quiet serve as a reminder that accomplishments that are meaningful, rather than quantity, are what truly provide true satisfaction. Quiet people also benefit from having a purpose in life, which helps them stay balanced. The continual pressure to be on and live up to others' expectations does not overwhelm them. Rather, individuals find serenity in the knowledge that their behavior is dictated by their own principles rather than those of society. As people take charge of their time and energy and allocate it to the things that make them happy and help them grow, this method promotes a sense of empowerment and autonomy in the individual. People who are quiet naturally recognize the value of taking deliberate action, and they serve as a reminder that we don't have to be busy all the time in order to feel successful. We can design a more purposeful, harmonious, and happy life by concentrating on the important things in life and taking deliberate action. This strategy promotes slowing down, introspection, and living in accordance with our core beliefs. The result is an inner sense of contentment and serenity that surpasses the transient benefits of thoughtless activity. Lesson 2. Recognize when friends are busy and refrain from requesting their time. This typically entails quiet people figuring out when their peers are too preoccupied to interact. They know deep down that friendship is not about needing to be talked to all the time or given special attention. Rather, they are aware that meaningful connections can exist without constant interaction and place a higher importance on quality than quantity. This sensitivity stems from a deeper comprehension of how relationships function harmoniously when there is reciprocal respect for each person's limits and time. Quiet people don't take it personally when their friends don't immediately return their calls or texts, since they understand that their friends are preoccupied with work, family obligations, or personal issues. Rather, they allow their pals the space they require with patience. This strategy is similar to the non-attachment *anatta* taught by the Buddhists, which advises against depending on other people to validate or feel good about ourselves. Quiet people recognize that friendships should be built on mutual acceptance and understanding rather than continual availability, which is how they practice non-attachment. This insight also embodies impermanence, another fundamental Buddhist concept. Everyone has distinct times in life where their attention and energy may be directed elsewhere. Life is constantly changing. Calm individuals accept this fact without bitterness. They understand that their friends' busy schedules are just a normal aspect of life's ups and downs, rather than a reflection of how well their relationship is going. Releasing oneself from expectations is essential to preserving calm and healthy relationships. Social media and instant messaging have created a constant strain on us to stay in touch with our social circles. Anxiety or feelings of inadequacy may arise when a friend appears inaccessible or takes a long time to answer. But quiet individuals understand friendship in a wider, more spiritual framework, which helps them overcome this need for continual affirmation. They appreciate the time their friends need to take care of their own business and acknowledge that each person has their own life, problems, and priorities. This insight and patience stem from mindfulness, which is an essential component of Buddhist practice. Being mindful helps us to live in the present without tying our happiness or sense of self to circumstances outside of our control. For introverted individuals, this entails accepting the relationship for what it is and not always looking for validation or assurance. Rather than making demands on their friends' time, they learn to live with the flow of life, and that genuine connection doesn't always necessitate instant communication. Buddhism emphasizes the value of compassion in both thinking and deed. Being compassionate is enabling someone to be free to move away when they need space in addition to being there for them when they need us. This is in line with the quiet person's innate propensity to respect boundaries and realize that a friend's business is just a fact of life rather than a sign of rejection. Moreover, quiet people foster more harmonic, balanced relationships in which both sides can feel comfortable by not bothering their friends while they are busy. They know that genuine friendships are based on great care, tolerance, and respect for one another rather than on transactions. This kind of selfless insight is referred to as loving kindness in Buddhist teachings. It displays a giving nature that lets relationships develop organically rather than clinging or making demands. Quiet people provide to us a valuable lesson about friendship. The quality of the relationship and respect for each other's unique paths are more essential than the amount of time spent together. This method, which is devoid of pressure or irrational expectations, promotes a closer, more meaningful relationship. Those who remain quiet demonstrate to us that being mindful of our friends' busy schedules is a selfless deed. It is a kind of compassion that honors our own needs as well as those of the other person. They make room for healthier, more mindful relationships that are built on mutual respect rather than on continual demands for time or attention by exercising patience and non-attachment. Quiet or not, everyone can learn something from this lesson. It serves as a reminder to approach our friendships with compassion, understanding, and patience, elements that Buddhism exhorts us to develop in all facets of life. Lesson 3. Value the people who understand you, since not everyone does. People who are quiet frequently get misinterpreted. People who are silent and introspective could be misunderstood by others as being haughty or lacking interest. However, this is not at all accurate. Simply put, quiet individuals perceive the world differently, choosing to observe and think instead of expressing aloud. Buddhism holds that every person has a different route to enlightenment. Spiritual paths are unique, just as no two people are alike. This is a basic understanding for quiet people. They truly appreciate the few people who do understand their silence, but they do not expect everyone to. Even if they don't always say it out loud, these people are frequently the ones that recognize the depth and sincerity of the quiet person. Buddhism emphasizes that we should not become attached to other people's approval, since we should know that this can result in misery. People who are quiet by nature seem to grasp this. Rather than chasing approval from all quarters, they concentrate on fostering the bonds with those who genuinely get them. We are all urged by this lesson to let go of our desire for acceptance by everyone and to treasure the few deep relationships we have in life. Lesson 4. Prior to speaking, observe and learn. The capacity of quiet individuals to listen and observe before joining a conversation is one of their most distinguishing traits. They take their time to completely comprehend the situation before expressing their opinions, and they never speak too quickly. This is a useful attribute in a society where many people jump to conclusions without thinking through the consequences of their statements. Speaking in a style that fosters harmony rather than conflict and is truthful, polite, and encouraging is what is meant by the phrase right speech. This is a guideline that quiet people naturally abide by, making sure that their comments contribute to the conversation rather than causing unneeded conflict or misunderstanding. The capacity to observe and gather information before speaking is an uncommon and valuable quality in a noisy and distracted society. It invites us to take it easy, pay more attention to how we connect with others, and make sure that the words we use are consistent with our goals and ideals. Lesson 5. You enjoy being at home. Even if you go out sometimes, it's okay. Being introverted by nature, quiet people prefer to spend their time alone to refuel rather than in big social groups. Even while they might like going out occasionally, they usually like the privacy and comfort of home. They require time to think things through and refuel, not because they are antisocial, but rather because they cherish their inner calm. Buddhism emphasizes the value of seclusion and meditation as routes to enlightenment and self-discovery. Before achieving enlightenment, the Buddha himself meditated under the Bodhi tree for extended periods of time in seclusion. This part of Buddhist practice naturally appeals to quiet people because they recognize the benefits of solitude in developing inner clarity and serenity. Quiet individuals serve as a reminder of the value of balance in a culture that frequently exalts extroversion and continual social interaction. While going out and socializing can be fun, it's also crucial to give ourselves time to think, relax, and refuel. Finding a balance between enjoyment and austerity is encouraged by Buddhism, and introverted individuals inherently exhibit this balance in their social interactions. Lesson 6. To be your true self, you need time alone. Alone time is not a luxury for quiet individuals. It is a need. They are able to be who they truly are in these isolated moments, unencumbered by demands and constraints from the outer world. Buddhism believes that spending time alone is necessary for spiritual development, and that self-reflection and meditation are key components of this practice. Buddhism views meditation as a technique for introspection, mental calmness, and reconnection with the inner self. People who are quiet have an innate understanding of this desire for reflection. They can digest their feelings and ideas, get perspective, and re-establish their moral compass while they are by themselves. This is not a formally Buddhist practice, but it is nevertheless a highly spiritual one. Quiet people serve as a reminder that genuine fulfillment originates from inside in a society that frequently places a premium on social connections and outward accomplishments. We can re-establish a connection with our inner selves and discover a sense of calm and satisfaction that comes from being alone ourselves rather than relying on other help. This lesson urges us to set aside time for ourselves, to respect our desire for privacy, and to understand that spending time alone ourselves can help us reconnect with who we really are. Buddhists believe that spiritual awakening requires this process of self-discovery, and silent individuals conduct their lives as living examples of this understanding. Lesson 7. You like people for who they are. Appearances don't matter. People that are quiet tend to be highly empathic and are more drawn to the inner attributes of others than their outward looks. They are resistant to being influenced by opinions from others or by conventional notions of beauty. Rather, they value people's integrity, compassion, and genuineness. This viewpoint is consistent with the Anicca teaching of Buddhism, which holds that everything is transient and subject to change. Buddhism views attachment to one's outward appearance and material belongings as a source of misery because these things are ephemeral and ultimately irrelevant in the larger picture of spiritual growth. Quiet people are naturally aware of this. Rather from being drawn to surface-level characteristics, they are more interested in developing deep, meaningful connections with people based on similar experiences and ideals. Sincerity and honesty appeal to them, and they value people for who they really are. This lesson serves as a reminder to see past outward manifestations and to build relationships based on respect and understanding for one another. The ultimate aim of Buddhism is to perceive all beings as interrelated and deserving of love and compassion, and to transcend the ego. This concept is embodied by quiet individuals who value others for who they really are rather than for how they seem on the outside. People who are quiet have a special way of seeing the world, and this method of seeing is quite similar to the spiritual lessons of Buddhism. Their capacity for deliberate action, deference to others' boundaries, and appreciation of life's subtler pleasures betrays a wisdom that is all too frequently disregarded in our fast-paced culture. Buddhism provides a route to enlightenment that focuses on looking within and realizing the true nature of our hearts and thoughts, rather than aiming for success outside of ourselves. In their own unique ways, quiet individuals have already walked this journey before us, demonstrating to us the power of quiet and the inward source of true understanding. We may start living more deliberately, appreciate the present, and develop more meaningful relationships with ourselves and others by implementing these 7 lessons into our own lives. By doing this, we become closer to the harmonious and peaceful condition that Buddhism promotes and gain an appreciation for the beauty of inner wisdom, solitude, and stillness.